President Trump has in effect begun his second term by nuking that ridiculous COVID relief bill. In this video, we're going to take a look at what's being called the latest stimulus swindle coming from the DC swamp, how President Trump is calling it out for the absurdity that it is, and how his solution is a brilliant beginning to what may be his second term. You are not going to want to miss this. Welcome everyone, Dr. Steve here with you, ready to bring you our latest episode celebrating the inevitable collapse of left-wing globalism and the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a regular part of this channel where each and every day we focus on optimism and encouragement in the midst of all the defeatist fake news nonsense spewed out by the mainstream media. Before we get into it, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's the makers of the beautiful Fighter Flare flashlight. Now, you are going to absolutely love this. One of the best things that you can invest in for your protection, for your family's protection, particularly when the lights go out, is the 6-in-1 beauty, which comes with a 3,000 mAh solar-powered recharging battery. It's equipped with a high and low beam light that you can see from miles away. It has an emergency strobe light. It's got a compass. It has a wire and rope cutter. It has an emergency glass breaker hammer and a high-powered military-grade magnet. It is absolutely amazing. And best of all, you'll get 20% off in celebration of Christmas, but supply is limited, so do not wait. Click on the link below. Get your super awesome Fighter Flare flashlight today. All right, let's dive right in here. President Trump has officially begun, as it were, his second term. I think that's precisely how to interpret his 11th hour nuking of Nancy Pelosi's insulting, pathetic, and ridiculous COVID relief bill. Now, I'm sure many of you are aware by now that the Democratic House of Representatives and the Republican Senate, again, this is a combination, is the epitome, the globalist oligarchical duopoly that is the swamp. They both overwhelmingly passed what they shamelessly called a COVID relief bill, which was literally nothing more than a massive porculus special interest giveaway. It was, as one commentator put it, $900 billion stimulus swindle passed by a gluttonous, amoral Congress. Now, if you don't know, the bill is over 5,000 pages long. Why a COVID relief bill has to be over 5,000 pages long is anyone's guess, until you realize that the bill really virtually has nothing to do with COVID relief. It gives Americans $600 to compensate for shutting down their jobs and small businesses. And yet, in the midst of a year where tens of millions of Americans were forced out of work, as hundreds of thousands of businesses were destroyed, while Congress could only find $600 for compensating Americans, they were able to find $10 million for gender programs in Pakistan. I'll say that again. I want this to really sting. While they chinced us for just $600, and by the way, that's giving us back our own money, right? Giving us back the money we've already paid to these parasites in taxes, while giving Americans just $600 to compensate for their own incompetence. They found it in their ever-generous hearts, these swampy members of Congress, to give, again, keep in mind, to give, to grant $10 million of your money to fund Pakistani gender programs. That's just the beginning of the absurdity of this bill, which now totals over $2.3 trillion. $40 million goes to the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., and you may be interested to know that the Kennedy Center is not even open due to COVID restrictions. It's beyond absurd. And so President Trump is taking advantage of the swamp's stimulus swindle to effectively begin his second term. President Trump addressed the nation last night regarding this national embarrassment and declared it precisely as such. Trump threw down the gauntlet, calling the stimulus bill a national disgrace, and he demanded, in order for him to sign it, that it be scrapped and replaced with a simple stimulus bill that gives every American at least $2,000. And he said, Congress found plenty of money for foreign countries, lobbyists, and special interests while sending the bare minimum to the American people who need it most. It wasn't their fault. It was China's fault, not their fault. I'm asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or to $4,000 for a couple, and get rid of the wasteful and unnecessary items from this legislation to send me a suitable bill or else the next administration will have to deliver a COVID relief package, and maybe that next administration will be me, and we will get it done. In other words, unless you want to have to continue to remain in session throughout the Christmas recess, you better get this done now. Now, I've got to say this was utterly brilliant on the part of our president, our dear President Trump. Absolutely brilliant, but not everyone thinks that. Look at this from Fox News, the utterly pathetic and fledgling Fox, the new Mitt Romney channel. Trump puts GOP on its heels with 11th hour stimulus demands, throws wrench into Georgia Senate race. Only a Mitt Romney Republican could write a headline like that. And by the way, when you look at their homepage, they have a fraudulent headline for this article. Their headline as of 11:30 this morning was, "For the people. Trump pushes for bigger stimulus checks, wants wasteful items cut from government spending package." Isn't that interesting? That's the headline on the homepage. And it's pure populism. It's for the people. Trump pushes for bigger stimulus checks. He wants all this wasteful nonsense cut from this ridiculous spending package. Then you click on the link and guess where you end up? You're sent to a Never Trumper article accusing the president of putting the GOP on their heels and throwing a wrench into the Georgia Senate runoffs. This is why Fox News has become so pathetic. They're Never Trumper news organization run by a bona fide Democrat, by the way. And so they mock us, they heckle us with pro-populist headlines on their homepage only to try to indoctrinate us with their rhino Republican Mittens Romney perspective, which, thank God, is literally dying every day as we speak. Only a Romney Republican could think that Trump was the problem, not the porculus bill. Only a Romney Republican like those dominating Fox News could even conceive of the notion that Americans are turned off by Trump demanding more money for Americans while getting rid of $10 million for Pakistani gender studies. It's called the swamp, folks. Swamp fumes obviously have a pretty devastating effect on your perception of reality, but swamp sensibilities notwithstanding, what Trump is doing here is utterly brilliant, and we're going to explore precisely why. But first, I want to personally invite you to our exclusive New Year's virtual conference on January 9th, 2021 to help you feel prepared for the year ahead. We're going to give you the information you need, myself and some great guests, to remain strong and confident whatever may come, precisely because we're going to give you a long-term perspective that will give you the assurance you need to head into the new year with confidence and resolve. Now, seating for the conference is limited and it's going fast. And to make it even better, as of today, we got our special Christmas time discount for you. But this week is it, so do not wait. Make sure to click on that link below and take advantage of our Christmas discounted registration special, which ends very soon. And you'll be glad to know that a portion of the proceeds will go to Good Neighbors Home Repair. So not only are you going to get blessed through this, but you're going to bless others with your registration as well. So do not wait. Click on that link below and register for our New Year's virtual conference today. All right, so what Trump is doing here, I would argue, is absolutely brilliant, because in both calling Congress out as callous and reckless spenders on the one hand, and standing up for the people on the other, for the voters, for the citizens of the nation, Trump is embodying what we've been calling the politics of the people, okay? This is real populism. It's nationalist populism, given how he talks about money being sent to foreign countries and China's fault and the like. The new populist Republican Party is animated by a very deep animosity between the people and the political class, right? The ruled versus the rulers, the citizens versus the aristocracy. Populists tend to be deeply suspicious of our elite class, our political and corporate class, our media elite, who are seen as ruling for their own benefit and the benefit of those rather than the benefit of those they claim to represent. And instead, populists believe that customs, cultures, and traditions of a nation are best preserved when taken out of the hands of the ruling elite and placed back into the hands of ordinary citizens. And this requires a different kind of politics. So, for example, in globalist politics, you have a political class that governs according to its own interests that have little, if anything, to do with the concerns and the interests of the majority of the national populations. That's why these rhino Republicans at Fox seem to live in a world all their own. They rule in accordance with their own values, which are so often at odds with the values of the citizens they claim to represent. In contrast to this, populists are driven more by what scholars have called a redemptive vision of politics, or what we like to call politics of the people, which restores democratic rule and institutions as compatible with the values of the population, and as such acts in accordance with the concerns of the citizens. Now, for the last 4 years, the American people have had a taste of populist politics, the politics of the people. The people wanted a border wall. And rather than respond to them, calling them racist and xenophobic like Paul Ryan would, Trump responded by saying, okay, well, how high do you want it? The people wanted their manufacturing jobs back. And rather than getting lectured to by globalist sycophants like Marco Rubio or Ben Sass saying, sorry, that doesn't work anymore in the kind of economy we all live under, Trump said, okay, I'll do that, and I'll throw in energy independence. How's that? I mean, this is the politics of the people. It's where the political priorities of Washington, D.C. line up with the concerns and the sentiments of the vast majority of the populace, such that the alienation between the political class and the people disappears. President Trump was brilliant in that he reminded everyone last night precisely what we've had over the last 4 years in terms of the triumph of the politics of the people. And as he alluded to in his speech, we may indeed continue to have for another 4 years. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you'll definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded. You're not going to believe it. It's on how a law professor is actually advocating that blacks should have their votes count double from everyone else. I know you have to hear it to believe it, but you're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.